Start the recording. Welcome everyone to today's session, Shifting the Culture of Teaching and Learning Through Online CTE Pathways. This is part of a speaker series. We are now in week 4 of our speaker series. Can't believe that it's already been that many weeks. And I'm your host for today's session, Michelle Pacansky-Brock. Thank you for being here. I know there are lots of things going on these days, and joining another Zoom session sometimes doesn't always feel like the right thing to do, but we're really happy that you're here, and we hope that you have some powerful takeaways from today's conversation. I'm joined by colleagues from 3 California community colleges who I'm going to introduce in just a moment. Donna, could you go to the next slide, please? First of all, a little bit about the Pathways Project. The Improving Online CTE's Pathways, also often referred to as the Iop Grant program, provided competitive grants to community college districts funded by that were funded by state legislature by way of the California Community College Chancellor's Office. And these grants were funded back in June 2019. They were intended to be 1-year grants. They've been extended because of COVID. And the grant funds were used to develop online programs and courses that support either of the following. Lead to short-term industry valued certificates or credentials or programs, or enabled a student in a pathway enabled students in a pathway developed by the California Online Community College, CalBrite, to continue his or her education in a career pathway offered by an existing community college. So that's a little bit about the grant project. And as I mentioned, we've been featuring projects from the colleges that received these grant funds in our speaker series. And today, Donna, if you could go to the next slide. The grants, there were 70 of them in total, awarded to 68 colleges, and the grants came to 27.5 million. Sorry about that. Next slide. Today we are joined by the College of Marin. We have Stacy Lintz, who's an instructional designer, and Kathleen Smith, who is the DE coordinator and also kinesiology, health, and athletics faculty. We're also joined by 2 colleagues from Evergreen Valley College, Nasreen Rahim, who is the distance education coordinator and instructional technology faculty at EVC, and Manapone Dickerson, Manapone Dickerson, I got it right on the 3rd try, sorry about that, who is the Division Dean of Business and Workforce Development there. And from LA Trade Tech College, we are joined by Linda Delzite, who's the DE coordinator and academic technology faculty coordinator, and Arane Arzumanian, who's the dean of instruction. And I'd first of all like to thank all of them for being here with us today. We have a panel with lots and lots of years of experience. Let's just say that. Actually started adding up everyone's years of experience, and it's a lot. Let's just put it that way. We have some real experts here that have been around for a long time in this field and really know their stuff. And I'm just very honored to spend some time with you and to have this conversation. Donna, could you please go to the next slide? So let me tell you how we're going to get started here today. I took some time to have a conversation with all of our panelists individually before we coordinated the plan for this conversation. And I was really interested in listening to what they had to say about their grant projects, about the accomplishments, the things that they're taking away from the project that they're feeling very proud about. But I was also listening for themes. And it was really compelling to me to notice that there was one significant theme that stood out among all the conversations. And at some point in these individual conversations, everyone I spoke with paused and said, this grant has made such a difference, but COVID has changed everything. And it was said in such a way that it actually gave me goosebumps. And I'm serious. It was said in such a way that our panelists were really calling this out as a culture change. Things are different now. And I thought that that would be a really important part to start this conversation. Um, and I'm going to read a couple of quotes that I wrote down from our panelists in the conversations that I had with them. Linda from LATC shared that this is what Linda said: COVID changed people's attitudes about technology. Before COVID, many faculty thought teaching could never be good with technology. Now I'm hearing, I wish I could have done this sooner. Industry changed a long time ago, Linda said, and now higher ed is finally catching up. And Nasreen shared with me that veteran faculty are saying, we are learning how to teach. This is not just about online. And Nasreen shared, now I know all the faculty at Evergreen Valley College, and they all know me. This real sense of community that she's starting to associate at her own institution, where you know, she's no newcomer to Evergreen Valley College. And Stacy from College of Marin noted that COVID helped faculty new to online learning in their understanding of why we have policies in place. And getting institutional support for online policies and procedures will be easier moving forward. Those are really powerful statements. And so I would like to open it up to our panelists to just talk about this a little bit, and expand upon some of the real cultural shifts that you're noticing as we're kind of hopefully turning this corner with COVID. And I'm going to open it up to any of our panelists to respond to that.
Do you want us to raise our hands, or can we just jump in?
Just go ahead and jump in. That would be great. Thanks, Kathleen.
Well, I want to agree with what everyone said. I've been teaching at College of Marin for 30 years, and now everyone knows who I am because of COVID. And you know, now the flashlight is shining on our team, which is, you know, Stacy and Carrie, our administrative leader. And what we are learning, we're able to emphasize, is this idea of quality. You know, we were given the OTD 12-week course that we, you know, converted to a training session that we put over, I don't know, 200 faculty through, and emphasizing that it's, you know, not a correspondence course, that it's very active teaching, and that quality is the emphasis. And using poker now in our policy, as you know, you can't just take the 12-week course, you also have to build your course and have it pokered. So in my mind, it's, you know, something we've been pushing all along, but now it's like, yes, you know, quality is important. And now we have the process in place to have this quality course for your students, our students.
Thank you. And I'm going to jump in real quick there, Kathleen. Just because we might have some folks in the audience who don't know what OTD is or what poker is. So let's just unpack some of those acronyms. So
they don't?
Well, I try not to assume, because I've been on that side too many times and trying to remember what acronyms stand for. So OTD, I'm assuming you're referring to the online teaching and design course, which is actually a course that At One, which stands for the Online Network of Educators and is the professional development arm of CVC. Do you see what I mean about these acronyms? The California Virtual Campus. So that course has been adopted by many of our colleges as a course that faculty need to take to prepare to teach online. And so that's what you're referring to as a version of the course that your college has adopted locally, correct? And then POCR stands for Peer Online Course Review, and that is the course design quality mechanism that we have in place through CVC and At One that has been rolled out over many years, very collaborative process that has evolved over many years. And it comes into play with the CVC-OEI course design rubric. So faculty apply the rubric to their courses and have them reviewed by a peer, and then they're POCR certified. So just to unpack that, but thank you for that contribution. It's fascinating to hear those kinds of shifts happening at your college, and who else sees a similarity or something that they want to build onto that?
Hi, this is Nasreen Rahim from Evergreen Valley College. I just would like to chime in. I couldn't help it from what Kathleen said. So just had a experience this not a few minutes back, where I had a faculty for this grant related course building. So the SME, the subject another acronym throwing out, the subject matter expert has put together things in Canvas and thinking that, well, this is it. I've built my course. So, but then this is a collaborative team effort. So we have instructional designer, myself. So we looked at it, and then we need to work with her. So she said, what I did was not satisfactory, you mean? Then I had to explain to her the whole caveat of, what it means. And also, we need to make them feel comfortable that, this is a teamwork, and this is for the benefit of everyone. We want to build quality. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you for sharing that.
Right. So this is Mani Manipon Dickerson. So just to pivot off, Nazarene said that, so I want to tout that Nazarene has actually been a key instigator to changing the pedagogy of online and the culture of online teaching in our college. She's a little modest, but she has been, awarded by our academic senate for doing such great work as one of the faculty awards, because she has changed the paradigm of, she's been doing online, teaching for Evergreen for a long time, but due to the COVID-19, it has propelled and influenced and accelerated the whole notion of what quality teaching online is. And now faculties are really engaged in the pedagogy of online teaching in ways of understanding the rubric, what is the required standard for teaching online. You can't just leave a student alone. All this from an administrative standpoint. It also helps accreditation standards, right, when they follow the rubric of discussion threads. So that has propelled and changed our culture. COVID-19 has influenced it in a positive way for us and for online teaching, that now is now a nomenclature of terminology to our faculties when we say online rubric, discussion threads. So Nazarene has been instrumental in making sure that culture has changed, and the influence of COVID-19 has propelled us to, she has created 3 workshops in the summer for our students. So now we can say 100% of our faculties are online qualified teaching because of the way she has propelled this rubric change in pedagogy in our faculty.
It's nice to see folks be recognized for all their efforts. I'm curious if we could hear from Linda or RNA. And the part of this that I find so compelling is to see this recognition that this isn't just about online, right? That it really is about teaching, good teaching, effective teaching strategies across the board. So Linda or RNA, do you have anything to build onto that? Do you see that coming out at your own institution?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to, again, say hi to everyone. Thanks for having us. Of course, I'll echo everything that has been shared already. And it really did help us, COVID did, to make faculty aware of all the professional development resources and the tools that we have in their disposal. And they really came around and utilized these tools as sort of COVID made us to go in that direction. And it's been, it has helped us tremendously to improve the students' experience within the classroom. As you know, LA Trade Tech we're about, I would say, 80% CTE. So it was very important to us to make sure faculty are have technology in their, they have access to technology and they know how to use it. And I have to say they stepped up, not just, faculty, not just within a department, but across campus. They've been sharing their techniques. They've been, letting each other know what new programs or technology they've discovered and how they use it to improve their teaching. And they share out with their with their peers, and they build upon that. So it's no longer us asking them to utilize these tools, but they come to us and ask us what else they can use, or they go and research and find more, more tools that can help themselves and other faculty to embed within their classroom, which we all know that in return that, improves the quality of online teaching and learning. And it's just been crazy how everyone has embraced it, and it totally changed our culture. And as Linda mentioned in our previous meeting, it's kind of like we are now catching up to industry in more meaningful way, more than ever. And it's great to see. And we are actually very lucky in our college. Our president is very, she has extensive background in online education, and she's been super supportive in making all this technology, as you'll see in this presentation later on, available to our faculty. So it's been hard. It's been, busy, as everyone else has been going through it, but the results are tremendous. They're good, positive.
I'll just take off from that. So we had a lot of faculty in different disciplines that became mentors, even without being asked to do that, without being compensated. If they knew something, they gladly shared it. But as a district of 9 colleges, we combined our efforts into sharing resources and combining training. And we are now using digital badging to recognize they took this class and this training. And I see that COVID has caused more coming together. It's accelerated standards across the district, sharing resources, getting more support. And I think it's done the same at the state level. I think it's accelerated the push for all of the home colleges, that it's accelerated the standards that we're all adopting. So I think it's been a great catalyst.
Yeah, I really like that point about how it's like the emotional part of it is there now, right? It's it's meaningful now. That was something that someone called out. Now that our topics, that online teaching and the quality is meaningful, it makes sense, and we're seeing so many people lean into it. So thank you for sharing all those stories from your local colleges. I can only imagine that everybody attending today is seeing overlaps with what's going on at your local institution. I definitely want to encourage you folks to who are attending to use the chat and share your own perspectives with each other. And also, as a reminder, if you do have questions, you're welcome to put those in the chat. We'll get to those later. And if you could put a couple of question marks in front of your question, it makes it easier to go back and find later. So thank you for that. That was a great start to our panel. Donna, could you go to the next slide? We're going to transition now a little bit and hear from each college about some of the accomplishments that they're reflecting on now as we're coming to the end of the grant period. And Donna, next slide. And we're going to start with Evergreen Valley College, and I'm going to have a little chat here with Nasreen and Manipon. Evergreen Valley College, as I understand, is now offering 6 fully online CTE, which stands for Career Technical Education Certificates, 6 of them, as a result of this grant, which is really amazing. So congratulations for that. But I'd really like you to dig into one of them, because it seems like it's poised to serve a tremendous need for our K-12 teachers in California. And the topic of this is shifting the culture of teaching and learning. So this very much ties in, but in a different way. So the certificate program that I'm referring to at Evergreen College is their online teaching and education technology program. And just to be clear, this is not a program that is an internal program offered to faculty. This is a program, this is a CTE online program that is intended for teachers to take and grow their improve their online teaching. So Nasreen or Monopone, can one of you expand upon that a little bit and tell us more?
Yes, so thank you, Michelle. So I'm just going to do an introduction of how, some context and background. So as you know, COVID has accelerated our needs for distance online training. So it was only indicative that our pipeline high school partners and our pre-K needed some support as well. So it came to a point where, we saw a problem and a need. Our pre-K partners needed support as well. So we created this certificate path so that our pre-K 12 partners can take this certificate, part of their professional development, because we saw that as a need, and how could we answer our need to our pipeline partners. So, and it was really indicative to what we had initially piloted with other community colleges when Mendocino came to us for our certificate, for our courses. And then it led to supporting our high school partners who will ask. And also it was also indicative because a lot of our faculties were helping. We had actually a faculty who was supporting her sister, who was a high school faculty who did not know all the ins and outs about online teaching. So that's really where the context of that, we saw a need in helping our community partners in pre-K-12, and this is the result of it. And so I'm going to have Nazarene talk about how the rest of the formation of this partnership for the K-12 pre-K online teaching certificate.
Thank you, Mani, and thank you, Michelle. So this certificate achievement, like Mani has mentioned, for pre-K through 12 teachers, as well as community college teachers, we have been doing we have started doing them like individual courses separately, not into a program. So this City Pathways grant is like a dream come true for us, and now all the more for COVID-19. So that helped us put together this 19-unit certificate, which is trying to meet the needs of the community. So the series of courses in this program are created with ideas, strategies, and resources based on the latest, the technology and teaching pedagogy of online teaching and learning for both for all these areas, pre and in-service educators, that is necessary skill now more than ever, and to support towards creating a successful online learning environment. So some of the goals that we have, we would like to fulfill is provide a clear pathway to potential jobs for pre-K through 12 teachers and colleges, as well as educators and trainers, and to provide quality online teaching with the focus on equity and culturally responsive teaching and learning. So our work is not, has not ended. It's like an ongoing process. And so then aligning the certificate with the broader Evergreen Valley College's mission of equity, opportunity, and social justice. So to empower students from diverse backgrounds. So taking those into account and to serve this wide and diverse student population. So this is and bringing in all these concept and ideas like accessibility more than ever now. So that is an ongoing training for faculty to make sure the online courses are accessible. And so these ongoing tasks of how to overcome, as well as how to instill the thing as how to overcome the biases instilled in our future generation. So we are including the pre-K through 12 educators so that they can prepare the next generation in with their to be equipped with online teaching and learning, quality online teaching and learning for them. So we have courses like this is a 7 course, 19 units, and the courses vary from computers and digital media and education to online course design and Canvas and online course development, then creating accessible course content. Then we go into the copyright. We also have included the need of STEM education, the technology then that's needed for faculty, for teachers, and also gender in STEM is another caveat that we have included there, and then adopting of the OER, the open education resources out there. So it's a very comprehensive, and it's that we are able to build because of the CTE Pathways grant, and we are looking forward to be able to make it grow all the more as we go on. So,
Right.
Nasreen, has that, and Mani, has that program begun to be marketed yet?
No, it will be, it'll be allowable for a spring 2021 as our best case scenario, but it not be summer 2021. So it will be fully vetted to that. And that's just so you know, this is our baseline to meet our social equity needs. And we are creating a standard, right? We're creating a standard when students taking an online course from pre-K all the way to middle school to high school, elementary high school, they see the same deliverables as once they go to college. So there's some consistency. So we're also meeting that standard need to provide consistency from their students' experience of taking online courses from pre-K, elementary school, middle school, high school, that there's just some consistency of how the teachers are instructing online. So, but that course will be available, approval for spring 2021, and that will be live for summer 2021. So we finally get all our approvals in place. Yes.
We have a request from Whitney in the chat for the link, and so that's why I asked that question. I'm assuming it's not public facing yet, so we'll have to hold off and take a look later on for it on our own.
Yes, we will definitely advertise all our 6 CTE certificates that are, or like I wrote in the chat, it's 26 courses. So we are one of the grants with the most ambitious. These are all new online certificate ambitious. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on those accomplishments. Congratulations. We're really excited to see how the community responds to them. Okay, thank you so much. So we're going to now change gears, and if you could go to, oh, you already did go to the next slide, Donna. Thanks so much. We're going to now have a conversation with our colleagues Linda and RNA at LA Technical Trade College. And Linda and Arne, one of the exciting outcomes of the grant, of your grant, is what I would call an instructional technology innovation. And you've developed a mobile Zoom cart that, when I first saw it, by the way, it was way cooler than it sounded. So everyone hold on to your seats. A mobile Zoom cart that fills a much needed gap for teaching online courses that are hands-on and lab-oriented, like automotive technology. So can you tell us more and show us how it works? Is Linda, I think you're muted.
I'm muted.
There you go.
Okay, so can I stop sharing your screen, Donna? Okay, I'm going to hit the little optimization so that that works. So let's see, get this out of the way. And this is where we want to start. So everybody can see this? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we started the CTE grant pre-COVID, looking at how we could do skills practice testing remotely, thinking about our healthcare program, and we wanted to take it statewide, and a portion of that had to be done hands-on. We're looking at skills proctoring, but the skills practice testing in the first aid, the blood pressures, taking pulses, that kind of things. So that's where we started this. And the more we talked around the community of the campus, and the more we started to show how we could use the Zoom room, they said, but we want it in our other programs. We were working with LA Metro on creating the next generation of mechanics and workforce to go into the rail program because they have a large population that is retiring. So whether it's the rapid transit or the traditional rail that goes across the country. So there's large specialized equipment. We had to have a mobile cart that could take it to their facilities in their lab. This happens to be our diesel. These teachers couldn't find videos to fit their lessons. We have somebody who's creating specialized content, animations and stuff. And we discovered working with the faculty that they have a very different style. They don't use PowerPoint and just Zoom. They like to demonstrate. And then even when they're working in a class, they'll say, okay, what do you think? And they call on the students, and they want the students to be paying attention and to be hands-on. So we started with the basic Zoom room kit. This was the first thing that we purchased, and this is the small little computer. This is the touch screen, and this is the camera with preset angles and the microphone and the speakers all built in. And we said, okay, that's a good starting point. It's like having this in a conference room or attached to a smart classroom. It's just one more thing that you can do. And next slide. So we started to add components and customize it. So this is a big, whoops, forget that. Let's go back. This is a whiteboard that's a touch screen. Here's the cart with a couple of monitors. This is a hover cam. You can see some of the extra equipment here. This is the headset. This is a switcher to allow multiple inputs. We can plug in a laptop. We can split the screen. We can do handheld cameras if we have to give support. So we're doing this live now, and we would like to show you, this is one of the screens. So from the out view, this is the picture in the picture. He's working on a Prius. You can see the big bay. This is the Zoom camera that's in close up. This is what's on his whiteboard, and this voltage meter is actually making changes on his whiteboard as it's reading out, as you can see. And we have this video that is in Play Pause It. So this again further enforces the individualized instruction. If you don't know Play Pause It, the teacher can do this live. He can put the bulb into the Canvas site and ask questions that, did you pay attention? Answer these questions. They get their points. It goes straight into the Canvas grade book. The students can leave questions. The teacher can go back and they can hold the discussion right around the lesson that was recorded live. So if I click on this, this will be the view of the teacher. So as the preview, we can go in and we can skip around. The next view that I show you on another one will be the enter the Play Pause It from the student's view, and it'll be slightly different. So we bring it in.
I'm Albert Samadani, and we're going to go over
he
a little thing of the
is here. This is the view. This is the whiteboard. Here's his computer. Here's his Prius.
We have
And
a 2010.
I'm just going to move it forward. Each one of these dots is a question
MG1 and MG2.
that goes in.
MG because MG is motor generator 1 and 2. So it's got 2. One is 5 times bigger than the other.
There it is. So he brings in his questions. This is post instruction that he puts it into Play Pause It. And we can just, okay, I'm just going to pick the first one and it's wrong. So I can retry and pick the second one and it'll be wrong. Oh, it's correct. So then we can continue. So as I go through, you can see how it changes. You now got 2 picture in the picture and his whiteboard is center screen. This is what he wants to show on his whiteboard. and he's doing touch screen to come through this. I'm just going to go really fast. So you get a picture, idea of what he's doing, and it's individualized CTE instruction. Okay, so we can go through, and at the end, it puts it into his area, and
more specific,
it
more
gives
exactly
him,
what the real voltage is. The scanner gives you a
okay.
value.
So over here, you can do review. You can skip to different areas where the bulb had the questions. Okay, I'm going to get out of here and go back to my presentation. So using the Zoom room, again, you can do it for live remote instruction where the students are watching at a scheduled day, time, and everything is synchronous, and the teacher is on campus. You can do prepared instruction, you can record it live, you can edit it, transcribe it, you can put it in to play, pause it, and give it to your students to watch. And one of the more exciting things that we're doing right now is part of the students are on campus, the rest of the students are watching synchronously. And so you have students that can be paired off, one at home and one at campus while they're doing their CTE activities, and you can have them paired up. You can have them in breakout rooms. The new Zoom, of course, they can switch between breakout rooms if they want to. We could have a camera on the finishing, carpenters, and the bathroom. We can have one that's doing flooring work in another area, and the students at home can come in and they can watch what's happening in each of those rooms and actually interact with the students if they want to. So here is the play pause it from the student's perspective, and you'll see that when we come in here, we can't go in and
or the
jump.
relay rod,
Okay, I
you
can't
want to
jump. I guess
these
I'm
are
in
the
here
two
as
pins which
teacher.
allow this
But you
as
can
suspension
come through
activity
here
like in the
and,
chassis and the axle move into each other. This
I'm
is
in
going to
instructor
start
mode. Let's go
turning
to learner
and
mode.
it's
Sorry. In learner mode, you can't do it,
thing.
but you can
So
go
we
at
have in
2
here
times
a
the
front
speed if you want
suspension
to.
of a steer
Oh,
axle.
this
Of
one's not
course,
set
it's
that
dead,
way.
right? It's not a
Thought it
tri-axle.
was.
But we have the full capability of steering
Okay.
system,
That's
of
great.
suspension system.
So I don't want to do too much on this, but I did want to give you guys
And
a
also
feeling of what can be done.
Mhm.
the collision
And
brake
let me
system
get
at
rid of
each
this.
I can only imagine how excited that instructor is.
Oh, he's absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
There's just no question about it.
I can imagine him pulling his family members around and sharing his class with everyone. You can see the pride. So congratulations on this
Yeah.
accomplishment. This is amazing.
So we have 4 pathways that are using it now, and we plan to roll it out to some of our other CTE areas. So we have it in diesel, but the rail program wants a specialized actually working with a GoPro on their forehead, and we are figuring out how to do that with wireless technology. You know, the electrical, the welding, the linemen, the process plant technology is another one that's getting ready to go. The microbiology and the biology and physics are also getting ready to go.
Wow.
So
Well,
let me,
I foresee another webinar in the future with you, Linda.
so let me stop sharing.
This is fantastic. You've got some very cools and wows in the chat there. So I told you all that it's cooler than it sounds. It's very impressive. So thank you for sharing that. So we're going to transition now and have a little bit of a conversation now with the College of Marin before we open it up for questions. So I do want to be encouraging you to think of questions. Feel free to put them in the chat if they're on your mind right now, if that works better for you. But so College of Marin, Stacy and Kathleen, your college utilized your grant funds to strategically develop specific CTE courses online that would allow you to fill gaps in pathways, in online pathways, and create more online certificates and degrees. As your college's experts in supporting online teaching and learning, what differences have you observed when it came to the instructional skills of CTE faculty?
Kathleen, you want to go first?
Yes, I didn't unmute myself. So I'll be the little introduction. The career ed guided pathway was a good fit for Cauldron because we are very much a transfer-oriented college. We had a number of courses in career ed, but they were really existing in silos. Faculty were not developing their courses through the student completion lens. They were just kind of all doing their own thing. And one colleague described them as random acts of courses. So the CTE Guided Pathway Grant has given Cauldron an opportunity to highlight the road to meaningful employment in our community. The grant has provided us a scaffolding structure that has defined a clear progression for our students, a clear progression of courses for our students. And this structured pathway created a tangible goal for students. And that is a pathway designed for completion directly tied to employment or salary advancement. So this has been a great opportunity for us to really go forward with our career technical education. And a lot of money's been put into transfer, and this is our opportunity to really show that we can be a school that has programs that employ our community members.
Random acts of courses. I'm guessing a lot of people can relate to that. Great.
And so part of as we were looking at, and this is something we've been working on for a while in terms of aligning our courses, Kathleen and I, our team of 2 and 3 with Carrie, over the years have been, looking at transfer a lot of the time and what are we missing in IGETC and CSU transfer patterns. But as we're going through that data, we found that the majority of our online courses that really would have put us over into being able to offer certificates. And it's important for people to know that we didn't offer certificates or online degree programs prior to the grant. So that was part of the work. Also was ensuring that we had over programs that were available and had enough courses to complete a certificate or a degree. And our CTE ones were the programs that had the most online courses. And that makes a lot of sense in terms of CTE because our faculty are used to working with a diverse student body, with students who are currently working or have outside commitments. And most of them had already gone through the phases of flipping their classrooms and then moving to hybrid and then moving to 100% online. And I think their ability to shift gears also made those courses and those faculty in particular able to meet a really tight timeline within the grant period. To EVC to put together 6 brand new certificates in that amount of time is amazing. It was because we only had technically a year, but plus with COVID, so. And
now, how is this going to impact students coming into your college with regards to guided pathways?
I think a part of the goal of the grant for us too was, again, in creating some clear structure and for how they can complete in terms of whether it's CTE or a transfer pattern, that there's a clear direction online with quality courses that have been reviewed, so they can see each step in working towards, first a certificate and getting some experience and coming back, and then obtaining transfer. So we want that to be a very clear map for students, and that there really isn't a question for how they can move forward and what time frame, what courses they need to take, and then the student support. How am I going to get there?
Yeah, that's so very important. As someone who has now observed one of my own kids going through community college on the pathway to transferring, seeing it through that lens really changes everything. Yeah, so that's going to be a huge asset to your students moving forward. And congratulations on all those efforts that you made to move into more of a strategic application of your online courses to help serve your students. Thank you so much. So we are going to open it up for questions. I'm going to see if we have any in the chat. I saw one come up from Henry Burnett, hi Henry, earlier, who asked what strategies have been developed to respond to individual learning styles to further individualizing instruction. I know some of that was, well, a lot of that was addressed by Linda's presentation there, but I was wondering if anyone else wanted to build onto that or respond in some different way.
I'll take that on a little bit. Maybe having a little less to do with career ed, but in general, getting our faculty think of different ways of assessing their students, especially the face-to-face faculty. I think that's been one of the biggest hurdles. They wanted to just take everything they did face-to-face and drop it in an online course. And actually our career ed people were better at pivoting than our face-to-face, but just that idea that there are multiple ways of assessing students and that it should be individualized, and just teaching them those ways that it can be done that are effective.
Assessment is a really, really important topic. Yes. Anyone want to add on to that?
Yes.
Assessment, yes.
So yeah, so for us, as you know, we definitely, besides the students' different learning styles, you have the faculty's different modes of delivery of their style, right? So we do a continuous learning workshops, right? So any new technology that's a state, so Nazreen and our distance ed committee has always these continuous workshops. If we have more videos provided, so a lot of the faculties in CTE are either doing online simulation labs or our biology department doing kits that students can pick up and then doing that. So we actually do it on a case-by-case basis from the faculty's input. And then we try to help them create ways that best meets the needs of themselves as instructor and meets the needs of the students. So even if we have an opportunity, if they found a software like Labster or something different Labster, we will help the faculty assess it to see if this is the best optimal usage and can it be integrated with our Canvas, what else could. So we usually take it case by case basis with the faculty and how they feel it best needs for the students. And if it works well, then they would present it to their department and how they're using it. And then we ask them to highlight to the next, where if they're using a software or something, we ask them to highlight how well they're using it too. So we do a continuous learning one of all this new software that keeps on developing. Second, we do a case-to-case management of the faculty of how they think it'd be best work for them. We work them through the process with it. And third, we ask them to highlight it with their department or at the division so that it can be shared.
And that's what I wanted to I'd love to hear more about that, the sharing part. That I think is the magic sauce with getting great teaching to spread. But what is that mechanism for sharing? What does it look like these days, particularly now that everyone is remote? Do you have any ideas to share about that?
And Nazreen has.
I can
Yeah.
just a quick chiming in. You know, Zoom is incredible. Zoom makes it like so much closer. You know, the sharing part. It's makes it seamless and so what we are trying to build, like Mani just mentioned, case by case. So we are trying to put together, like for faculty who have the success stories, like what worked in his or her teaching with all these new apps. And just now we saw PlayPosit incredibly done with the auto program that. So that's that. So I think this technology and the current situation now and Zoom itself makes it more seamless and closer. The learning, the bonding, the sharing has become. I mean, we don't realize it, but it has brought us closer. That's
Right.
what I.
Yeah, and we created a depository, right?
Yeah.
So Nazreen has created a depository so everything's recorded, and she's able to send it to faculty to share. And also Canvas. We have a depository of everything in Canvas so that if faculty want to use it, it can be used. But we also are not just sharing within the academic realm. We also have shared within the student service areas, the special programs, like the TRIO program. They have their own depository so they can share in Canvas to share with their own staff. So so we're trying to use the technology that we're telling other faculty to use as a way to share and as an archivist, right? So documenting and having a hub and depository where it can be easily retrievable to anybody who wants it, or even the lead faculty. And Nazreen, if there's a faculty said, I can't remember the link to this video that you recorded, she's able to easily cipher that out and send them the link of the last recording. So we're trying to create a system within a system. So that's how we've been sharing it, is like one, creating a housing depository of all the information. And then second, and having a place where to highlight the success stories. But we also have a great president who's been highlighting in her newsletter all the success stories too. So that's where some of the sharing is happening too.
Very nice. Stacy, I see you unmuted. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to add to that too. And I think Canvas has been a great tool for that as well. A lot of our faculty, the number of sandboxes that we have now of collaborative faculty departments collaborating, creating videos together and sharing resources for their students. And again, I think that was a push of COVID, in that they needed a more meaningful way to connect and share their content and really talk about the strategies that they're using with their students, and helping them make the shift as well. So I think I was like most proud of our art faculty, who they rose up as the, sort of the leads in a way that I never thought that they would. And those who are, same with a lot of CTE and doing really mostly face-to-face focused courses where you're in a studio, and here they were making these great connections and collaborations in a shared course, and really trying to create together.
That's great. That's great. So we have a comment from, I think it's Carrie. I think that's how you say your name. I'm going to read. And then Linda, if you wanted to expand upon what you just said about Pronto, that would be great. But Carrie has noted, our auto faculty piloted using virtual reality to instruct their courses online, and that has been well received by students. That sounds very cool too. It helps them with the hands-on aspect of learning the skills. We are considering expanding the use of virtual reality in our career programs as a result of this successful pilot that has been responsive to the different ways that students learn. And Carrie, I'm going to write down your name because I just might have to follow up with you about that. For those of you who don't know, we have an article series, also known as a blog, on the @ONE website, where we like to feature innovations in teaching and learning. So I'm just going to put this out there that if there's anything that you would like to feature from your institution, you can go ahead and send me an email. I just put my email in the chat, and I'd love to work with you and get that showcased. But Linda, do you want to expand a little bit about what you just said there about Pronto, and maybe explain what Pronto is for those who aren't familiar with it?
Okay, so Pronto is one of those apps that you can install into Canvas, and it creates a group. So my class would be a group, and you can go into Canvas and you can open the app in Canvas. You can install it on your phone, and the students can interact with each other. You can hold a meeting with 4 people sharing their screen at the same time. That was one of the things that we liked about Zoom rooms. As you can see, is we can have multiple screens that are being shared. We can have students, teacher, we can have teacher and PowerPoint. But now Pronto will allow you to go, okay, as a teacher, here's what I'm doing, what are you doing? And helping them in whatever level they're at. If I create a Zoom for my students, I host it, I'm there, But if the students want to use Pronto, they can just interact with each other without going through you. And that's a way of the students getting to each other on their own to do projects and peer review.
And it
And
works great on a phone, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, which is a great value
So
add.
they're all real world competencies.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and Pronto is very similar to Slack, which is used very predominantly in the workforce these days. So it's kind of a nice stepping stone into that type of communication as well. Thank you so much, everyone. This has just been amazing. I want to acknowledge all of our panelists and everyone who is in this session right now in the audience, and everyone who will be watching the archive who has felt like you've been carrying the world on your shoulders in the past and at an institution where online has been so important and so under supported. I sincerely, with all my heart and soul, hope that this culture shift continues and that it means much more resources and support for the very, very important work that each of you does. So thank you so much. And everyone, thanks for being here. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon, everyone.